You are Sir Graham, the bravest and most honorable knight in the troubled realm of Daventry. King Edward the Benevolent, aged ruler of Daventry, has summoned you to the castle for reasons unknown.
Greetings, Sir Graham. The King is expecting you. Allow me to escort you to His Majesty's throne room.
Thank you, Sir Knight.
Raise the portcullis.
I am at your service, my king.
I am an old man, Sir Graham. Perhaps too old to carry the weight of this crown. My bones ache, and my hands tremble. I am afraid my time on earth grows short. But enough about me. Great misfortunes have befallen Daventry since the loss years ago of 3 magical treasures. I have chosen you, the finest knight in all of Daventry, to search for these lost treasures. Only then can this kingdom be restored to its former glory. And only then may I rest with the knowledge that my people are safe. The first treasure is a magic mirror that foretells the future. The second is a magical shield that protects the bearer from all mortal harm. The third and last is an enchanted chest that is forever filled with gold. I know that what I ask is difficult. Nay, perhaps impossible. The dangers are many. But you are brave and pure of heart. That is why I chose you to volunteer. If you succeed, you will inherit my crown and rule the realm of Daventry as her rightful king. Go, Sir Graham, and know that the fate of Daventry lies in your hands.
Take heart, my king. I shall not fail you.
You have selected to play with dead ends enabled. The game will play exactly the same way as the EGA version of King's Quest I, Quest for the Crown.
Well, hey gang, this is Daishi with a Let's Play of King's Quest. And actually we should call it a Let's Fail according to a couple of people that I know, because that's exactly how this will probably play out. I was never the best King's Quest player in the world, and while I remember games like Monkey Island and The Black Cauldron, I don't really remember how to get through King's Quest. What I remember a lot of is dying, so I'm going to be saving liberally throughout the game. I've already done a couple of runs of just kind of getting used to the controls, things like that. This is the AGDI version, and version, not virgin. I doubt that AGDI pumps out a lot of virgins from its production studio. This is the AGDI version, and I've never played this one through. I've played through the old one, but Never this one, so I'm sure there'll be some surprises. I'm not sure if they changed anything the way they did in part 2.
From here, you can see that the stump is very old and rotting away. A dark hole at the top catches your attention.
I'm going to try to let the narrations go through and things like that. I guess that's part of the charm of the game. Plus, who knows?
You should look into dark holes before putting your hand down them, Sir Graham.
See, now, is there any real point in making me look at it once from a distance, then I try to reach my hand down there, and now I've got to look at it again.
Inside the rotting stump, you notice a small leather pouch.
And now I can finally put my hand down the stump.
As you lift the pouch from the stump, you feel its contents shifting inside.
So, that takes roughly 4 different actions to actually get it to work and actually get this.
When you peek inside the leather pouch, you discover it's filled with diamonds. Nothing happens.
But I guess that's worth something, and that's my first set of points. 7 points, so should be happy with that. I don't think there's anything over here.
There's a hole in the side of the log. You peer into the darkness inside the log, but there's nothing at all inside.
Alright, well, AGDI changed up a lot in part 2, for the better in my opinion, because it actually gave it something of a plot line to follow. But I'm pretty sure that in this version, there's no changes if I remember hearing right. So I guess this will be pretty faithful to the original. So that will include all of the deaths, I'm sure. Oh, here we go. I remember a little bit about the game, don't get me wrong, but not enough that I think this is going to be a flawless run-through. But I guess you can share in all the joy and misery of that.
The woodcutter speaks to you, his voice broken with sorrow.
We would welcome you to our home, Sir Knight, but we've had no food for so long. My beautiful wife cannot even rise from her bed. I fear she may die soon.
An old earthenware pitcher sits on the table.
If this were Legend of Zelda, we could take everything in here.
You cannot get the pitcher.
Well, why can't we get the pitcher?
You cannot get the pitcher.
Well, technically, I could get the pitcher if I was actually standing there.
If there was something of value in there, the woodcutter and his wife would not be starving to death.
I guess that's true.
You should not steal from these poor people, Sir Graham.
If Graham were Link, none of that would have made a difference. Those people would have just been robbed blind. Well, anyway, so we're going to be wandering around a little bit, and I'm going to do my best to scour my memory and come up with some solutions to the puzzles of these games, of this game. Unfortunately, in between, there's going to probably be a lot of walking and more walking. And so there's a good chance that, much like with the Black Cauldron, that I'll probably try to splice in a little bit of music into the background of this at some point. I know somebody mentioned that they liked the Labyrinth music in one of the videos, so who knows, you may get some David Bowie going on later. Although maybe that'll ruin the fantasy charm, I'm not sure. And I'm already going in circles. Maybe I could draw a map of Daventry as I go along, but that would probably... damn it. Okay, that would only slow things down further than what they already were. I'm going to try to make... I wonder if I can swim up here to this shore. I wonder if I can grab that fish.
There are strong currents under the calm surface of this lake. Diving here would be too dangerous.
Oh, maybe if I just wait for the fish and then suddenly grab for it. Oh, not the bird, the fish.
There
Boom.
are strong currents.
Never mind. I have a feeling it wouldn't be that hard, but then again, this is King's Quest, and there's a number of ridiculous things that happen in this game. Well, it's one of the first real games in the... Is it the first game in the graphic adventure genre? I know it's certainly not the first one to have graphics in it.
You pluck a plump orange carrot from the ground.
But as far as graphics from like a third-person perspective and seeing your character walk around, I know there were first-person adventures. Oh, there was one game about a troll, like the Troll Cave, something like that.
If you pick the flowers, you would ruin the nice garden.
So this couldn't have been the first one. that had graphics. But I think it's the first one I know of that had a third-person hero. Okay, this I remember, and while I can't die here, I don't think. I certainly know I can fall, because Sierra loves to make you fall off of stuff.
Finding plenty of footholds in the coarse bark of the tree, you easily clamber up the trunk to the branches above.
Now I'm going to be careful here, because otherwise it'll mean I plummet to the ground. And I'm not sure if that means death or... Damn it! There we go. Alright, let's try that again. You know, I swear I clicked on parts of the tree. Alright, so Sierra loves to make you fall down. In the Black Cauldron, you can fall off the sides of cliffs, fall off of stairs, fall off of paths, fall off of the sides of castles. Here you can fall off of... Really? Really? Because I swear to you, I'm clicking on the tree and not off the side of it. But maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the one who cannot see properly. Maybe I should be wearing my contacts instead of my glasses. Maybe the depth perception is off. It's a 2D game. How can my depth perception be off on this? Alright, one more time. And quiet for concentration. We're going to do this like we're on a golf course. Save. That's the most progress we've made. Alright.
You carefully lift the golden egg out of the nest. One of the birds may need it, but you won't. Leave it alone.
See if we fall from this distance, if it'll be any worse on us. Well, we're alive, so that's good. I'm getting an unusual amount of lag, but maybe that's just the recording process happening here. Okay, well, it's good to know that we've at least, we can at least survive a fall from a tree. I'm sure we'll run into something later that will fall.
Without warning.
No.
Run straight for you.
Go. Run, walk, run, walk. Okay. So, note to self, there's a wolf over there. And I'm already paranoid about dying, so let's... Does it come back every time I go on the screen? Because that would be really inconvenient. Okay. No. Whoa. These are important for some reason. I remember these. Right?
You grab some pebbles.
Yeah, pebbles. Like, there's a giant somewhere in this game, and you're going to be like David and Goliath, and you're going to have to slay the giant. I don't think that's from another game. That's certainly not from part 2. There aren't any giants in part 2. Okay, so we're good here. Let's see if we wander north. Let's see if we get past that wolf and go... Yes, I'm terrified that every time I go through the screen that the wolf's going to be waiting for me. Safe. Alright, let's see what's further north. I know the game scrolls up and down and left to right, so you can't really get too lost. Although the looming darkness in the distance certainly does not bode well. I'm pretty sure they're warning me that death is coming. Okay, this is pleasant.
There is a small dwarf right nearby. Be careful, this sly little chap is trouble.
We'll keep walking. So apparently the dwarf is pretty safe out here in these death woods, but I'm not.
The path to the front door is lined with little gingerbread boys and girls.
You know, technically these kids are already dead. They've already been made into snacks, so would it really do any harm to eat them?
You don't know how long they've been standing there. Eating them probably wouldn't be a wise thing to do.
But why not? Can I eat the house? Oh, I can eat the house.
As you begin to eat the house, a squeaky voice from somewhere says,
"Nibble, nibble, little mouse, who is nibbling at my house?"
Alright, Well, that's certainly not the witch from part 2, although it sounds like her. So I'm guessing AGDI uses the same voice actors.
As you knock on the chocolate door, a squeaky voice from inside the house answers,
Who is there? I love visitors, especially young tender ones. Come in, come in.
I'm going to go ahead and guess that entering the house right now would not be the smart decision. So, what's this over
there's
here?
not much to do there.
Okay. So, let's move on. I know I have to get in there at some point, but apparently now is not the time. Wait, do I even have to go in there? Is there a reason for me to go in there? I mean, I'm saying I have to go in there, but I don't really have any evidence that I do. I don't think there's anything in there that I carry or take away later. Alright, so there's not an island, but there's a piece of land that's blocked up here. And I guess I might as well show you why, because this I remember pretty distinctly. And save as always, because you never know when death is going to approach. That's not death approaching, but certainly is an obstacle.
As you start to cross the bridge, a huge, hulking troll stomps into view and blocks your way.
Well, what have we got here? You think you're gonna cross my bridge, do ya? Not for free, you ain't.
Can I push him? Probably
You
not.
push the troll as hard as you can. Unfortunately, the troll doesn't budge an inch.
I thought he was going to pimp slap me there for a second. Guess not, so let's, I think there's a way to get around him pretty easily close by. Okay, this I remember.
You pick a large four-leaf clover from the patch.
Did they really have to animate Graham like that? I mean, he's pretty much mocking you right there. This is how much Graham cares. Wait, what's this?
There are some beautiful, fragile little flowers here by the rocks.
Can I grab them?
You wouldn't want to ruin the beauty of this little lake by picking the flowers.
I guess not. See, and you can never really tell, but one of the things that's really nice about this game is the attention to detail that the creators had. I mean, of course, the graphics are better in the AGDI version, considering it was made 20 years later, or maybe more. But what's nice about the original game is that all the narration, while not spoken, at least there were real vivid descriptions of your world. So even though what you saw was limited in terms of what was on screen, at least you got a good description of where you were, what the world was like. And I think that really appealed to a lot of gamers, especially at a time when graphics were fairly limited. Alright, so we've got a goat, we've got a carrot. Let's feed him a carrot. Aww.
Very clever. You tempt the goat with a carrot, and he begins to follow you around. You've made a friend.
Well, the narrator certainly sounds happy. Plus, that's some adorable music. How could you not be happy with a goat companion? I know you can kill the goat, and that's a little tragic, but it also sort of makes sense. Oh, I missed some narration. Oh well. All I know is that he was going to tell me that the goat needs to stay nearby, if I remember right. And he's not following me. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. He kind of wandered back into the pen, and then he's right here. This part is a little bit like the Black Cauldron, where you have to lead the pig around Henwin. Except our goat doesn't have a name. What do you name a goat, anyway? Well, if the pig's name is Henwin, let's name the goat Gogmog. I'm apparently going to be a horrible father. I'm going to end up naming my child something terrible. Alright, let's go, troll. Ooh, the music.
As you start to cross the bridge, a huge, hulking troll stomps into view and blocks your way. It is a well-known fact that goats hate trolls intensely. You move aside and let the goat take care of this wretched, nasty troll. The goat lowers his head and runs straight for the troll, butting him right off the bridge and into the river below. That's the last you'll see of that troll.
Oh, farewell, Gogmog. They really should let you keep the goat throughout the whole game, because you're not going to see a lot of other companions here. Alright, let's save, because we just did something good.
You see a wizened old gnome sitting in front of his house, whittling.
And over here is his den of murder.
You weren't invited into the gnome's house.
See, should that really matter?
You weren't invited into the gnome's house.
I mean, you sneak into every other place in this game. It's not like you ask permission to go inside the dragon's lair or the dwarf's house in part 2.
This is a pile of gold. There is a small pile of straw here. This is the gnome's spinning wheel.
So, for those who can't put 2 and 2 together, he takes a straw, puts it on the spinning wheel, makes gold. So if you don't know the legend, this is Rumpelstiltskin.
Welcome, Sir Graham. I've been expecting you.
I have something that will be of great use to you. But first, Sir Graham, you must answer this riddle. I'll give you 3 guesses. What is my name?
Alright, gang, here's where I cheat a little bit, because normally, if you know the legend, I think this is how you spell his name, Rumpelstiltskin. But the witch actually has something in her house that tells you to think backwards. And I think that even in the legend of Rumpelstiltskin, there's something about his name being backwards. So we're going to attempt to put his name in backwards. Nixlitselpmer. It's a little demonic. I think that spells Rumpelstiltskin backwards, so let's give it a shot.
That's right! Outstanding! I didn't think you were that clever. As a reward for your sharp intellect, here are some beans. They're no ordinary beans, but it's up to you to find out why. Somebody as smart as yourself should have no problem at all. Well, step over here so I can give them to you. Here you are. Good luck on your quest.
See, if you read between the lines of what he just said, Rumpelstiltskin thought you were an idiot. These are supposedly beans. Although it looks like gold, some blue stone, and a red ruby. Alright, well, we'll take our gemmy rubies here. Or our gemmy beans, and... Gemmy beans. I kind of like that. What if I made a brand of gemmy beans? Alright, so now we have our gemmy beans, and we need to find a way to plant them. There's a lot of stuff we need to find, and I'm just running in circles. Hope a wolf does not eat me. So let's... I guess we can try the witch's house again, if I can find it. Alright, AGDI, what am I doing wrong here? How do I read your mind on how to cross over to the next screen? There we go. Alright, well that's discouraging. Okay, well, there's a couple things I know we need to do. First of all, obviously, we can actually do something here. We're looking for the treasures. Obviously, I'm not doing too good of a job of it, but I know we can plant these here, I think.
You plant the magical beans in the fertile soil. Suddenly, something incredible begins to happen.
Whatever sound effects that AGDI chose to use for their game, it sounded more like that beanstalk was burping as it came out of the ground. And that's another thing about the voice acting. Like, I don't have a problem with the voice acting per se. I do have a little bit of a question on how they recorded the voice actors. Some of them come out really clear, but some of them have an echoey effect on them. Almost like everybody took a mic home in a script and was basically told to record this on their computer. Alright, so I don't think I've seen this section of the forest before, so that's a good thing. It means I'm actually finding new places. Hey, we haven't been here.
The only response you get is the echo of your pounding.
Well, at least we're finding new places. And am I saving every couple of screens? Yes. Why? Because you have roaming wolves, dwarves, and sorcerers on every screen. It does kind of make you wonder just how safe Daventry as a kingdom is. But I guess that's why the king lets you know right away that things have pretty much gotten pretty bad in the kingdom.
There's not much to do there.
But there's all these delicious nuts.
There's a large walnut tree surrounded by several pine trees.
And there's a squirrel running around. Shouldn't I be able to... There we go.
You choose a big, meaty-looking walnut from the bunch scattered around.
After Graham gets done mooning you. This doesn't look like a walnut. Anyway, let's go see if that witch is still around. Maybe I can get into the house. Ooh. It'll either be the witch or the dwarf that gets me here. No, neither. Well, that's pleasant. Gives you some hope for the future when you're not dying like every couple of seconds. Although you can tell that I'm obviously still terrified. Let's give this a knock.
There is no answer from inside the house.
Alright, that's a good thing. Now, in the course of robbing a house, you should always be thorough. Any Zelda player knows this.
You take the cheese from the cabinet.
And the cheese does stand alone. I'm sort of, it's a little amusing that cheese goes from being a casual product you can pick up here to being the key to solving the game.
Off in the distance, you hear a high, squeaky voice.
I can smell someone tasty in my house.
Yeah, now that I think about it, in King's Quest 1 and in King's Quest, what is it, 5? You need a cheese in both cases to win.
With a mighty shove, you courageously push the Wicked Witch into the pot. Her wild screams are suddenly cut off as she melts away into the oily green slime. Congratulations!
What's with Graham's pose there? I mean, it's bad enough what he's wearing.
Try as you might, you can't get the drawer to open.
Alright, so if you had come here first, you would have been able to pick up this.
You grab the note from the table.
And this says...
There is a message written on the note. Sometimes it is wise to think backwards.
There you go. And so from that, you're supposed to deduce that you're supposed to use Rumpel's name backwards, even though I swear to good heaven that you're supposed to know that from the legend anyway. Although, how many people have recently heard the legend of Rumpelstiltskin? And if you don't really play a lot of fairy tales, when you bought this in the 1980s, how were you supposed to figure that out? There was no Google. So if you just happened to run into that guy, you saw him with a wheel and gold and hay. You know, it's not like you can enter those keywords in anywhere and come up with something. Nowadays you could. Nowadays you could go to Google and come up with an answer fairly quickly. I guess that's why you had to have at least a particular circle of, I wouldn't say nerdy friends, but at least well-read friends. It's the same thing with the goat and the troll too, because the narrator says that it's a well-known fact that goats hate trolls, but who is that a well-known fact to? If you were to ask somebody on the street today, what do goats hate most? They probably wouldn't say trolls.
An extremely large jumble of boulders sits in the center of this heavily wooded area. At the base of one, you see a small hole. You would need to be much smaller to fit through that hole.
Indicating that we may need to shrink at some point. Well, let's keep exploring. There's a snake here. Let's... See, what I'm looking for... I'm looking for a stone that will roll over you, because I remember that's a pretty infamous scene from King's Quest. And I have no idea where I am.
There's a small dwarf right nearby.
Oh.
Be careful. This sly little chap is trouble.
Don't want to lose my stuff. Don't want to lose my stuff. Yeah, the dwarf robs you blind. This is a good time to save. Actually, every screen is a good time to save as far as I'm concerned. But the dwarf will rob you blind, and I'm not sure you can get your stuff back. What if he robs you of something like the treasures you're supposed to have? Like, can you get those back? I mean, it's the only way to win the game is to get all the treasures. What if he takes one from you? I think that may be one reason why adventure games really didn't last too long. Well, they will actually, let me take that back. They lasted a long time. I mean, 20 years, and they're still around. But their heyday kind of passed, and maybe one of the reasons is because of dead ends.
There
but I could be wrong.
appears to be some sort of bowl sitting next to the tree.
What could it be?
You pick up the bowl.
Let's take a look at this thing.
Inscribed on the inside of this empty ceramic bowl is the word fill. To your astonishment, something begins to bubble up from the bottom of the bowl. Within moments, the bowl is filled with a hot, savory stew.
Awesome. So it's a replenishing bowl of stew or porridge. See, our greatest nemesis in King's Quest is, well, besides the constant and varied threats that wander about, the greatest threat in my mind is getting lost. I'm not the greatest person to ask for directions in real life, so a digital landscape where I have no real point of reference probably isn't going to treat me any better. At least in real life I could look at the sun.
Bushes and rocks seem to complement each other, don't they?
I'm not sure what the narrator's implying there. Alright, so we've got soup or porridge for the poor peasant and his wife. So that's a good thing. What we really need to find now... Well, I'm not really sure what we need to find. We need to find something to kill the giant that I think is up there. And we need to find a knife. That's what we need to find, is a knife. It has to be under that boulder somewhere. The suicide-inducing boulder. If I could find a way to get around this dark, infested forest, that would be real nice. Because I basically seem to keep coming back and forth from it. Wow, this looks nice. I haven't seen this beautiful little patch before.
Lovely wildflowers grow profusely in this beautiful green meadow.
You gotta admire the...
There's not much to do there.
The art that they put into this game in remaking it. I don't think people appreciate these sort of graphics as much as they used to, but I still think that this looks really good. And I do love the fact that they chose not to put music in at every moment, so that it was cycling from scene to scene. Because all that does is really, it kind of wrecks some of the peace you have. The sound effects are good enough just to give you a good impression of what nature is like. And I think that really fleshes out some of the loneliness that is inherent to this game, and a lot of games like it. But I don't think that's a bad thing, because how many games do you get a sense of loneliness in? I'm not talking about the sense of terror that you'll get in a lonely game like Dead Space. Because Dead Space is designed to make you feel isolated and alone.
There's a small dwarf right nearby. Be careful. This sly little chap is trouble.
Go, Graham, run. Okay, now we're going to try our best to find the peasant. And that rock I was talking about. It's always when you're looking for something that you can't find it. Wasn't it just a couple minutes ago that we stumbled across the starving peasants?
There is a mushroom in the meadow on the other side of the raging river.
Well, what's a good thing is that we're crossing over territory that I've never seen before, and I don't remember taking us through. So at the very least, that means we're finding new stuff. The rock! This is it. This is also one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen in the game.
The moving rock rolls downhill and right into you. A crushing defeat.
Well, so I would like to pose a question. From the moment that we touched the rock, how far away were we from it? We were within arm's length, so maybe a foot or two at the worst. If we were within an arm's length, so let's say we were 2 feet away. That means it took the boulder exactly 2 feet of distance to gain enough momentum to crush a human being. Leading to one of my theories is that gravity works differently in Daventry, unless you're falling off of an ivy stalk or... No, you know what, that makes sense. No wonder you can die so easily from falling. It's because gravity is at work at a much higher rate here.
With a small shove, you manage to push the rock a few feet, revealing a shallow hole underneath.
Awesome.
You reach into the hole and find an intricately carved dagger. You carefully lift it out, being careful not to cut yourself.
Well, following Graham's discovery of this, we're making progress. If we ever find our way back to the peasant, or you know what, we have a knife now, so I think we can go after the dragon. So that's encouraging. Ooh, let's do that. It'll put a little flair onto the end of the first hour of this Let's Play. Because I certainly don't want to end this without at least getting one of the treasures. Oh, and yes, I did choose to progress through this game without avoiding dead ends, because I don't want to be ridiculed later on any message boards for having taken the easy way out on this. Okay, it doesn't matter. I know we're close. We are close to this well. I'm sure of it. No, not the beanstalk. If I see that miserable dark end of the forest one more time. Okay, this is not going the direction I needed to. Where are you, wonderful, wonderful well? South of here? East of here? You know what's truly terrifying is I think I've only seen the peasant's cottage one time so far, indicating that I really have no idea where they're living.
Your attempt at cliff diving was a smashing failure.
Really, King's Quest? Going back to my theory on gravity, apparently it works so quickly that you have no chance whatsoever of being able to grab for land while falling. Did I lose anything? Do I still have... Okay. So, no terrible repercussions, but that is why, especially in the early days of the adventure game genre, they told you constantly, do not play without saving, and saving at every turn and every moment, because you will die. But I guess when you really think about gameplay mechanics, there wasn't a lot for adventure games to do in terms of threatening you if you didn't have easy ways to die. Because otherwise, not that not dying is a bad thing, but if you want to convey a sense of threat, you know, it helps to know that at any given time you could turn around and end up falling off of an edge. Because otherwise it's just a puzzle solver. Which again, nothing bad about that. You know, Secret of Monkey Island, you can't die except for like one scene, and that's fine. And that's a completely different take on the genre that took it a different direction. And I think people, for the most part, people appreciated it. But you know, it is a different tone, and it does take a game a different direction when you cannot actually suffer a fatal consequence. And what would King's Quest be without the ability to fall off of a random ivy vine? I guess another question is, what would I be as an adventure player if I didn't get lost constantly? But we seem to have found our way to victory, because this is where our first journey shall end. It's in this bucket.
After you are in the old bucket, your weight causes it to slowly descend.
So I think there are a number of ways for you to die at this point in the game. One, I think if you jump in, you can actually die if you swim around for too long, like on the surface of the water. Okay, I didn't need to do that. You can climb back up.
Leap out of the water and climb into the bucket.
And then we can do this. Take the knife. Boom. But once you do that, you can't get back up.
You leap out of the water and grab the rope.
Well, that's a pleasant surprise. At least they weren't that hateful or spiteful. So let's grab this bucket.
You check to make sure that the feather is still securely stuck in your cap.
That's a little funny.
You manage to take the bucket.
I never realized that they put that in the game like that. Alright, let's dive. Yeah, Graham does seem like the sort of person who'd be a little obsessed with the positioning of his feather. How is the hat staying on underwater like that, by the way? That treasure chest is a suicide button. If you try to open it, you will basically end up drowning because you took too long getting out of the water. Alright, here we are. So let's save our game. Because there are two ways that this is going to go.
You kneel down and fill the bucket with the cool water.
I just want to show you these two things just to illustrate one reason why people got a little frustrated with the adventure genre. I think this is Smurd from Dragon's Quest doing a cameo, or Dragon's Lair. Okay, so we'll try to kill him the honest way.
With unerring aim, the dagger spins through the air and pierces the soft, unprotected skin under the dragon's throat. The beast convulses for a moment, then crashes, lifeless, to the hard cavern floor.
Okay. If you have a knife and it kills a dragon, most people would say that's good. But look at the sort of points we got. We're at 86 right now. Now let's see what happens when we try a different route.
You kneel down and fill the bucket with the cool water.
Adios, mofo.
Good shot! The water hits the dragon square in the face, dousing his fire.
And subsequently producing a very soothing sauna. Do the crown dance while we wait. It's the best special effects in the game.
With anything more than harmless clouds of steam, the dragon rolls aside the granite boulder and slinks off in shame, leaving the mirror behind.
And also giving you more points than if you had stabbed the dragon, which makes no sense. It's not like we lost anything in the process. Well, I guess you do lose the knife. So I guess the whole thing is this. If you end up defeating the dragon by knifing him to death, you lose points because you lost the knife?
You take the magic mirror. Congratulations!
Alright. Well, that completes at least one of our treasures, so let's get out of here and then we'll save up and call it a day on this first Let's Play. But see, again, one of the things that frustrated people was just the fact that you had to know exactly what developers wanted you to do in order to get a maximum number of points. And that can get frustrating. Whether you use the knife or whether you use, you know, a bucket of water, the goal is accomplished. And I think for most people in general, that kind of was it. You know, if you had to read the mind of the developer, well, that gets a little tricky. You could come up with intelligent alternative solutions, but if they weren't the developer solutions, well, then you were out of luck in terms of your score. But I guess it's going to do it for us today. When we come back, we're going to look for that peasant's cabin again. In fact, I'm doing that right now. This black forest will not leave me alone. Some days I can't find it. Some days it's everywhere. So I will... No, don't fall down. Don't pitch into the water. What I'm going to do is put myself to the task of finding that peasant's cabin. That way, when we do our next Let's Play, we won't have to see countless scenes of me wandering about the forest. So, thank you for tuning into the first edition, and hopefully in the next edition we get a little speed going and get through some of this a little bit more quickly. Until next time, you keep on gaming. Talk to you later.